Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be starting episode 1 of our new series, The Catacombs. In this series, we're going to be breaking down the actual edits you guys will be doing in your mods, going through the specific process, screen capping everything along the way so you can follow along. So no more talking head WordPad videos. We're going to be kind of diving right in. So with that said, if you guys have not seen our previous video series, The Hitchiker's Guide to D2R Modding, I do break down all the different file types, some of the limits, programs you're going to use, etc. So I'm not going to be really holding hands, if you will, in this series because it's all been kind of discussed before. So as a reminder, if you guys are enjoying the content, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, etc. You guys know how it works. Let's get rolling. So with that said, again, we're going to be doing items today. So we're going to go over everything from strings, sprites, models, the stats. We'll even mess with some scaling, some size, as well as some particle stacking. We'll get you guys kind of right into the deep end here. So with that said, all I'm going to do is go into our mod folder and grab everything we need and create all the folders we need. So obviously we'll just do this in real time so you guys can see the process. So we're going to create our Excel folders to hold all of our text files. These are going to be the text edits we need for the actual stats and for the item to spawn in the game. So we'll make a new weapon. So I'm going to grab out Weapons.txt. We'll go ahead and make a unique version of that weapon. So I'll grab UniqueItems.txt, and then we'll go ahead and spawn it in with a cube just to make things easy, although you can spawn your item in through drop tables or however you want. So those are the 3 text files we'll need for this video. We're also going to need to grab the visuals for our new weapon. So for that, we're going to go to Data. We're going to create a new HD folder. And then we're going to do a couple things in here. So for our model, we're going to create Items folder. And our model is going to go in here. For our sprite, we're going to create Global UI and then Items. So we'll do Global. Here's our UI folder. And Items. All right, and we'll browse there in Cask and get everybody on the same page here. So Global UI Items, and then from within here, because we're editing a weapon, we're going into that weapon folder, and then from there we're going to go into a hammer folder, and I'm going to show you guys a trick to make life a little easier on you in just a minute. So this is normally where we would drag our sprite, because again we're just trying to edit, let's say bone saw in this case. So normally we would drag our sprite here, and this is the sprite we would edit in this location. And then obviously if you wanted to edit a sword tomorrow, then you would have to create a sword folder, put your new sword in there, and you can start imagining that as you start editing mini items, just putting them in the right folder is kind of a hassle. So what I'd actually recommend doing is what I'm about to show you now. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to cut that, and I'm going to move it back into this items folder. And instead of this weapon folder, so let me go back to HD items so we can get a clear understanding here. You'd normally see, let me go to global UI items because it won't have that dropped items folder. Okay, so this is normally what you'd see in your kind of sprite location, HD global UI items. Is then it breaks it into each category. So we don't have to deal with that. I'm going to make a new folder, and I'm just going to call it custom. So anything new that we're adding to the game, whether it's something we've edited or something we're adding brand new, maybe we want to put it in the custom folder so that we can have all our armor, weapons, miscellaneous items all in one place. So they're just kind of easier to edit for us in the future. And I'm just going to paste that in here. We will need to address that in our items.json reference file, but this will make things a lot easier for you in the future. So I'm going to rename that while I'm in here. We're going to call our bone saw new because we are very creative here with our names, as you can tell. And then we're going to basically do the same thing. We've grabbed our sprite, but now we want to do this for our model file as well. So that's going to be in data HD items. So let's go ahead and go there. While we're in here, let's grab our items.json as well as our uniques.json because we are going to be adding a unique version. And then within our HD items folder, again, we're going to have this same kind of structure. So just like we did with Sprite, instead of going through all that, I'm just going to create a folder here that says custom. And then we will grab our model file or our JSON that we need, and that will go in the custom folder. So again, this is just instead of having all the individual item types and having all that, we're just simplifying it for us some. And to make sense of that, we will be editing these files to point it to the new location, but I don't want to get too far ahead. So the last thing we need is we've grabbed both our visual files, that is the sprite and the model. And then obviously we've grabbed all the text files we need to add the actual item. So the last thing we're missing is going to be, well, let's grab our strings. And so that's going to be in local language strings, and that is for the actual item name, when you see it in game. So without this, you're just going to see an evil force is the name because it's not able to find anything to kind of match that. And then all we need from the strings folder, again, since we're only editing an item name today, we're just going to grab our item names.json, and that's all we need there. So now that we've kind of grabbed everything we need, you know what? Let's grab a texture, and I will toss that in while we're dealing with all this. So for that, we'll go ahead and leave the old folder structure, and this will make sense in a couple minutes here once we get into the edit. So we've made our weapon hammer reference, and then within here we need a bone saw reference. All right, so we've got all our folders, and let's just grab out our albedo texture. That's our primary texture. We'll edit that in just a minute here, so we can change the look of our item visually, kind of in the 3D space as well. So we've grabbed all the files we need. Now let's just start editing and get the ball rolling. So we'll open up Weapons.txt, and all we're going to do here is copy something. Let's copy a mall, probably a pretty close match. And you can use the clone option here. Just out of habit, I have done this so much, I still use that. We don't need to rename it, but we'll just call it mall new. And then the thing we do want to do is give it a new item code. So again, I'm not going to go into too much detail in these text edits here. Not only is there a data guide from Blizzard, which you can find in the Excel folder, so you can always take a look at that. We do also have a PDF version on the website, but that's going to break down all the individual columns. So obviously, if what I'm doing here doesn't match the edits you're doing, just ignore it and kind of do your own thing. We're just going to be making some noticeable edits for demo purposes. So we've changed our item code as well as our name string, so that in JSON, this is the key for that name string. And all we want to do now is change the damage. We'll give it 69 min and 69 max. That's obviously a nice value to have there. And then for lulls, let's make it a level 1 item, and we'll show the kind of item level there. And then the last thing we'll do is change the norm codes and stuff to match. So we're just using, I should quickly say ZZZ as our item code. We just need any 3-digit item code. It can also include capitals. To use, make sense of that, a capital A M5 would be a different item code as far as Diablo is concerned than lowercase a M5. So you do have quite a bit of options with your capitals and flexibility there. But we're going to say that there is no kind of other versions of this item. There is no kind of exceptional or elite version. They're just, this is all you get. But we've made our actual item because we just cloned it. We can kind of leave a lot of that stuff, and we're going to go ahead and save that. But we do want to make a unique version of that item, so let's go ahead and pop that in here, and let's get that edited. So I'm just going to grab essentially a mole. Let's grab this bone saw, and we can edit that how we want. Again, you can clone. I don't know why I don't. All right, so let's name this bone saw new. We're going to update the ID just to the next one in the sequence. We're going to change this item code here. So again, this is the code here to ZZZ, like we made our item code just a second ago. Again, we'll make it level 1 because why not? Currently, it's going to change it to a light red color for the actual sprite and stuff. We don't want that because we're picky, so we're going to delete that. And then it will have, all its own stats that it adds. I'm not going to really mess with that too much. Obviously, you guys know, what stats and stuff you guys are going for on your item. All I will do is show you if we wanted to add a stat, for example. I open up properties.txt, and let's say we wanted to add, I don't know, all res to it. So I can just copy this here for that reference, and then in the min and max give it some value, and we'll just give them, I don't know, 10 all res. So they already get some, fire and cold res from the item. Now they're going to get even more from the all res and stuff, and that'll all stack up. So we're just going to say that's the edit that we wanted for this item, and we're going to save it. So we're all done with creating our item. It has the stats we want. It has the unique version. So we're all set as far as creating the actual item goes, but it has no visuals yet. So if we were to go in game and look in resurrected mode, there's essentially just no visuals. So we need to edit the sprite so that we can make that work how we want. So again, we're going to go, actually, delete this weapon folder now that we don't need it anymore for the sprite. Let's go ahead and open this in Sprite Edit so we can get that taken care of. So I'm going to open that. You can see here we're already in that folder. So we're just going to open that. Here's the sprite from the game. We're going to export that, and sure, we'll just call it, that seems like a good name. And then let's open this up in Photoshop. We'll do some quick edits. Obviously, you guys will spend time and do your own thing. I'm just going to change the color. Let's say that we wanted this to be, I don't know, a cold specific item, maybe drops from a special boss or something. So it seems like a good enough color to me. And we'll go ahead and resave that. And now that we've edited our sprite, we're ready to import that. And now that it's imported into the sprite editor, we can go ahead and save over the original or save over our kind of new version because now we're good to go there. And as you see, it'll automatically create that low-end version for us. So we're all set. I'm going to go ahead and delete these. We don't need them anymore. There we go. And now they're all gone. So we've created our sprite. It has the low-end version. Now we need to do the same thing for the model, essentially. So we're going to go to HD items. We're going to tackle this in two fashions. So first, we're going to look at this texture here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up Noesis. And we're going to take a look inside the BoneSob folder from kind of the data folder. And I'm going to export that as a PNG so we can, again, edit that as well. And we don't need to worry about changing the name. And let's go find our file. So there's our new PNG that we just made. Again, we're going to open that in Photoshop, do some quick editing here. We're going to change this to match the sprite, so it should be like a bluish tint to it. Sure, seems good. So there's our new texture for the weapon. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and save that, update everything. And now we've edited both the sprite and the texture that the model will use to display everything. So all I need to do now is just kind of export that back as a texture. So back in Noesis, we're going to go ahead and select texture. Because it's on a model, I'm going to use the DXT5 special command. We're not going to bother renaming it because we're going to change that anyways. And there we go. So now we've got our brand new edited texture, and I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste that to our mod folder. And we're going to replace this one here with the newly edited one. And in a future video, we'll show you how you can change that texture location, make things a little easier, but that is the reason that it's still in the weapon folder currently. But anyways, we're going to go back to items, custom. Because we named our sprite BoneSob new, we're going to name our JSON BoneSob new as well. And then now we get to reference everything. So we've gone through, we've edited the sprite how we liked, we've edited the model how we liked. Now we want to point to this new folder location where we're storing things to make things easier in the future. So for that, we're going to open up this items.json, which if you remember from our previous video is just a reference file for kind of all the items in the game. And what we're going to do is just add our comma, tell the JSON it keeps going, and then enter in our new info. So this is going to be the item code Again, we're using ZZZ for our kind of new item. And this would normally point to the location. So for a hammer, it would look something like this. You're going to see it point to, the hammer folder and then bone saw, or actually I think it might be weapon folder. So there you go. It would go to hammer maul normally. So again, if we just go back to JSON real quick, or I'm sorry, our cask real quick, and we go to HD, items, weapon. So normally it goes hammer, and then in the maul section, or I'm sorry, for maul, you're going to see maul.json. So what we've done is we've basically gone back one folder. So now if we use period, and then you can either use like the / by shift or kind of 2 backslashes, whatever works. This sequence of characters tells the JSON to go back one folder. And what this will allow us to do, again, is now we can look, instead of inside a different folder each time, we can always look in the same location, which is our custom folder, whether we're talking about a new sprite that's an armor, a weapon, a miscellaneous item, etc. We're just using the same folder for all of it. So we're going to go ahead and save that. We're going to go and do the same exact thing for the uniques.json, which again is just telling the game what to use for the unique graphic. And so for the key, we're going to want it to be the name of our unique, which for us, we just named it bonesaw new. So that's all this is going to be, bonesaw new. And then again for the can't talk today. The folder location, we're just going to use the same thing we did before to tell it to go to our custom folder. And that is going to be bonesub new. And then we can copy and paste this for our other entries. If we want a different exceptional or elite versions, we could do that, obviously, but we're not getting so fancy today. So we've updated everything with our references. We've updated the actual files. The only thing we have left to do is edit our string. So let's quickly take care of that. Wrong section here, data, local, language strings. Let's get that open. And this is going to be really simple for us. We're just going to copy and paste the previous entry, add a comma. I recommend starting with ID something like 50,000. You want to be less than 65,535, but you do want to be greatly above what Blizzard uses or their last entry, so that you don't have to kind of redo everything. Again, this is going to be the key, the item name, or the item code of the base item we made, which is going to be ZZZ. And I really can't type today. And we're just going to call that, I don't know, a video demo hammer. So instead of a maul, it's now called a video demo hammer. And then we also want to add one more entry for the unique version of that item. So we're going to go ahead and give that the next ID. Instead of the key being ZZZ, it's now the unique item name, which again is going to be bonesaw new. So that's our key name. And then for the actual name, we'll get real creative here and call it the bonesaw new. So now when we have the unique version in the game, it should read off as bonesaw new video demo hammer, because it's going to show both strings for us. So we have now edited everything that we need to. We'll find out here in just a minute if I did it correctly or if I made a mistake somewhere. But assuming I did everything correctly, actually, I did not. We forgot to add the cube recipe to spawn the item. So let me quickly do that. I apologize. Always forget one thing. It's like an unwritten rule. All right, so add our new row, enable it, ladder only, sure. One input, we'll make it a town portal scroll. We'll give it our unique item name with a P level of 100, and we're all set. All right, so now we're good to go. Try that again. So again, now I should be able to use a cube recipe to spawn our new item in. And obviously you could change that to have it be from a drop table or whatever, method you prefer. Buy it from the shop or something if you, really wanted, up to you. But let's go ahead and just pick up some TP scrolls real quick, and we can already see actually from my previous test. There we go. So there's our new item, and as you can see, our sprite changes has made it into effect. You can see now that we have lightning and poison resist +10 that are all res +10 has also taken effect. And that's why we have those, as well as an extra on our cold and fire. So all of our sprite information and string information, you know, we can see the name of the weapon, all that's good. We can also see the model has taken, including our edited texture. So now it's like this blue, you know, for the model, and as soon as you pick it up. So all of our changes miraculously worked the first time. We didn't kind of have any issues. Now you might remember I did change the min and max damage to 69. Obviously I did forget that it has enhanced damage on it and stuff, so we don't see those exact values there, but obviously you can see it, you know, everything else worked. I'm sure that was fine. But let's get one more step into it, and let's edit the JSON for that item, because we want to do some special stuff with that item. So what we're going to do is go into HG Custom to our bone saw, and we want to give it a couple features, if you will. So the first thing we'll do is we can see here that you can adjust the scaling based on the class. So we can make this weapon bigger or smaller depending on who's using it. So because a barbarian is big and strong, I'm sure he will have no problems wielding it at 10 times the normal size. I mean, that's like nothing, right? He'll be fine. So we're going to go ahead and make it 10 times bigger by scaling that up. And then we want to do one more thing just to add some flavor to it. So to do that, let's go ahead and go to like Data, HD, Missiles, and let's just pick a missile that you know, we think might look decent. I don't know. Let's do like a fireball. So let's open up fireball, and I want to go ahead and copy this entire section here, this VFX1 entity section with the particle definition included. I'm going to copy this whole thing from bracket to bracket, and I'm going to just paste it right at the bottom after this bracket. So I'm going to add a comma, and I'm going to paste it. And it's as easy as that. So now we are going to have a kind of fireball particle attached to this weapon. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and remove the release point definition, the track release, because we're not using it as like an actual skill. We don't want to adjust kind of when the particle releases from the character model. So we're just going to remove that section, and we're going to go ahead and save that. So all I've done is made two quick edits in the JSON file, one for the scale, and then one for adding a particle to the actual model. So not all particles will kind of function how you want when you attach them to things. But assuming this one works fine, we should now see a particle effect kind of attached to the actual weapon when we're carrying it around. So you can see my 10 times scale weapon, no problem. You can see the fireball that's now attached to it. Obviously, the position and stuff is kind of way off base right now. Luckily, we can adjust all that. So if we go back to our JSON, we have orientation and position parameters that we can scale, and again, just kind of adjust that how we need it to, and you can basically customize things from there. Another thing you can do is start attaching different things to characters, to skills, to really go after special looks. So we'll cover that in a different video when we start learning about attachment entities and things. But I hope you've understood, at least in this video, how much you can change, kind of how easy some of it can be, really how versatile and powerful your modding experience can be, just as long as you understand the basics and you know which tools to use and whatnot. Don't be afraid to reach out for help, and basically the world's your oyster. We'll be happy to help you. So I hope you found this helpful and useful. Thanks for sticking around to the end. I know it's a longer one, but get used to it with these kind of specific edit tutorials. And thank you for enjoying. Take care. Bye.